Well, hello, my unstoppable lionesses. Here we are. We did it. Another week. Lord is good. Yes, he is. So this time, this day, I'm gonna kind of test you a little bit. I am. I'm gonna test you to stretch your mindset, to stretch what you believe you are capable of accomplishing, because we have an unstoppable lioness in the room that is OMG for real. All right, seriously. We have Miss Jennifer Ponder with us. Hi, lady. How are
Hi, how
you?
I am doing great, Dr. Coylette. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
So Jennifer was one of my cohorts when I did Speak Sell Shine in Washington, D.C., and that's where we met. And I was really, really intrigued. When I get a chance to sit in the presence of sheer genius, it's like a chance to go, oh, okay. Okay, that's like mindset on steroids, man. But Jennifer is a award-winning technology engineer. Okay. And it is so amazing to see a woman, okay, in that space holding the credentials that she holds because it's a male dominated space. Technology, when you think about technology, you think about men. However, if any of you saw Hidden Figures, you know that there were some women behind the men. But Jennifer is not just behind the men, she is out front doing her thing. So, Jennifer, please kind of give my audience some just an overview of who you are.
Yes, definitely. So I am excited to be here with you all. But of course, I've been in the technology space over 15 years. So I started out as a software engineer. And I'll just tell you, one of my signature talks, Creating Your Pathway to Leadership, I definitely did that early on because, as you said, Dr. Corlett, there was not many women in this space. It is getting better, but there's still a long way to go. So early on, I wanted to find my tribe, find other women in tech. And so I set out to do just that. And so I knew I was always a woman who, you know, in spite of having that challenge, I wanted to create opportunity for me. So when there was not many internships or apprenticeships, I went out to different startups and different different companies to, put projects out there and do opportunities to say, hey, I'm the engineer that you need, that you're looking for. If you can't afford a CTO or a full IT team, I want to be that person and bring my expertise. And so I was always that forward thinking individual. And also, I wanted to kind of always as well take it back to where it started from the roots of my childhood, being interested in technology. I knew at the tender age of 8 years old, when I got my first computer, I knew I wanted to be in technology. I didn't know what. So while the other kids wanted to be doctors, lawyers, nurses, teachers, and those are certainly all important occupations that we do need in this world, I knew technology, I was going to use it to take it to the next level. And so even in that frame of it, I didn't see many women, until the Hidden Figures movie. I didn't have any software engineers coming to speak to me at my school when I was a child. And so, I wanted to bring that forth into what I'm doing now to help young ladies and to be what I couldn't see as a child growing up, but want to be that for them. And so that's why one of the reasons I started a STEM scholarship at my high school with one of my classmates as well. I'm the national program director at STEM Atlanta Women, where we help middle school and high school girls to be interested in cloud computing, AI, so many things. And so their mission in the beginning, when I really started working with them, that was something that spoke to my heart. And so for me, as you can see, my journey has long been about technology even before I knew it. And so this has kind of just been something that I've been passionate about. And I know my parents always kept me in STEM activities over the summer. And so I was always immersed in science, technology, engineering, and math from the start.
You know what? You just said something very, very valuable. It's like your parents zeroed in on your passion and made sure that they fed it.
Definitely. Definitely. I will say that in any opportunity where there was space, and I'm so thankful for that because I know at times you do want your children to venture out, really feed that. But also, I had structure, I had discipline, I had all of that. And that's what I think led to all of the opportunities that I've had. I've been disciplined enough to feed my curiosity with what I wanted to do. But early on, my parents were definitely in my corner and knew like, hey, she got something here. Let's keep her in these things and see where it goes.
Mm, that's awesome. I love that. I love that. So in your journeys, how did you, because I'm sure that there were obstacles that you faced as you entered into your career sphere. How did you, as a woman, and not just as a woman, but also as a woman of color, how did you navigate through that to be seen? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because your demeanor is such a one of professionalism, not the stereotypical angry black woman kind of thing, but your how did you navigate to where they could see you for the value you brought to the table?
Well, and that's a great question, Dr. Coylette. One of the things I did very early on, like I said, with creating my own opportunities outside of that, because it is challenging when you are in an IT lab or in your particular sphere where you're working with other developers and they see you, but they really don't see you. And so that's when I said, you know what? I'm going to start working with organizations, volunteering for them, showing what I can do. Also, getting speaking opportunities early on. I was never afraid of that. And so for me, I started out really trying to find women in tech organizations where I could go to find my tribe, such as Women Who Code. I started out there, Girl Develop It, Women in Technology, and really getting on the panels, getting to know and really network with people. And when I saw also the other women that were dealing with these challenges, I said, what can we do to come together, start some creative activities where we can talk about these things, not really in a way like you stated, because most of the time we are given that stereotypical adage of we are angry black women. And I said, what we can do, we can try to be triumphant over this thing. What can we create instead of doing that? Because at first, whenever I would apply for different roles or different things, yeah, I would get the look of, she doesn't look like an engineer. Like, really, why are you even applying here? But I did not let that stop me. As it says, that old saying, let my work speak for me. That's definitely what I did. I've remained professional. And at all times, I knew this thing is bigger than me. God has put something into me, and I knew it was bigger than all of that. I could not let somebody's view of me stop me, because if I did and allowed that to happen, I wouldn't have reached the heights that I would. But I would say early on, I just always had that creative mindset to look outside of the box and find opportunities like 48 and 48, where you're building websites for nonprofit organizations and other companies who can't really, if they're starting out early, they may not can afford a website. But if you're a developer and you can lend your time to volunteer, like I was always finding creative ideas like that where I could be seen and show up. Also, reach out to startups to find, okay, what's a way that I can create something for you and also be a part to help support your mission, lend value. Of course, I'm a stickler about leading with value. What can I do to support you? Not that I'm looking for something in return. If you do something, that's fine. But I want to show you that I want to build community and be a servant leader. But I've always tried to find what's a way that I can really show up. And I think starting out with that speaking piece, and that's what I started out at in Women Who Code, they were always telling us, hey, you all learned something in code or you're making an app, go speak about it. And that was a way that allowed me to be seen and show up. And also, there were people that saw me that I didn't even know. And I said, it's always that power of one. You never know who you could be encouraging and who your story could change their life. And so that's just something that really resonated, and how I've been able to move past those challenges with really just keeping my eye on the prize and really keeping myself with like-minded individuals, and really just turning the tide and creating my own opportunities has really helped me.
So keeping that in mind, you were a 2024 Guinness's World Book record holder. How did that come about? And what did you win that honor in doing? What were you doing?
So, in what I'll say, I started probably with this organization around 2023, the Women in Cloud, moving into 2024. And so I know, there were some things about, hey, you can go write a cloud script and see if you can, compete against other developers. I think it was over 500 developers. And you can write this script. If you can get it in a certain amount of time, you'll get that. And I said, you know what? I had just kind of, I would say probably the top of 2023, I delved over into cloud engineering from software engineering because I love the cloud. And I said, you know what? Let me see what can I do here in this cloud space that would be phenomenal. And I just, kind of dove in head first, day and night into that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go up for this and see what I can do here. And I was blown away. I was like, all those long nights of working and doing all of the work that you were putting in the cloud projects, and just to win something like that. And it was some other ladies who had came as well from that same group in that as well. I said this was just definitely just phenomenal for me because, of course, again, just going back to that thing of being a woman in tech and also a woman of color in tech. And sometimes I know some people look at me and they're like, what did you win this in? Just to see it is to believe it. And so, it was just a phenomenal moment. I said, even just for my family, just kind of legacy and thinking about, again, going back to my parents having me in all those STEM activities and organizations and just all I've been able to do. And I said, something like this really lets me know that God, it's all worth it. It's definitely worth it.
I love the fact that you focused in and gave back to others while you ascended the ranks of what you desired to do. I think that is so important. Leaders get so consumed with just climbing that corporate ladder, just making a name for themselves, just doing, and they forget that as you give, it'll be given back unto you. And I think that that was just so amazing that you walked up that ladder by pouring out along the way. That's phenomenal, and I am convinced that that's probably what opened up many, many doors on your behalf, not just in the natural sense, but in the spiritual sense, so that you could be promoted and elevated along the way. Because that's just the way of God, to be honest with you, is to pour out.
Yes, definitely. I will say that. And just for me, I have always, I think since middle school age, I've always figured out the way, like, how can I help my friends? How can I do more? Even in high school, I was just always trying to help others. And I said, for me, if I'm able to reach that height, and again, just going back to not having the engineer in the class, or on the day where we had officer friendly and the teachers and everybody talking, I'm like, how can I give back in this space? How can I propel? And when I became, and one example I'll give you, when I became the front end leadership architect for the front end development track at Women Who Code, when we were doing our fellowship, that was one of the things I wanted to put women out front, women in tech. I want you to see what they are creating, how they're leading in their space. Also, other women of color, just like me, who are doing things phenomenally in the cloud space, blockchain space, front end, back end development. Um, that was a time where I said, Lord, how can I put other women out here? Because there's not a space where, you know, there is about 3% of women in STEM, computing roles especially, who make it to the top C-suite roles, and it's
Just
about
3%,
11%, just 3%. If you can
3%.
think about moving through that. Now the numbers, it's getting better in some sense, but there is still a long way to go. At the national numbers, it's about 11% in STEM, and so you can look at some of the latest data from McKinsey and Company. PricewaterhouseCoopers survey over the years of women in tech reports. It's all there. And so I said, even though I'm just one person, how can I utilize any platform that I have to give back to women, give back to young ladies? Because I know a lot of times in our communities, you know, STEM has not been something propelled,
Mhm.
and that's not to say the creative arts is something we need less of, but it was always kind of science and math. I don't know, that's kind of hard, but we really need to be pushing our students
Mhm.
to science and math. STEM is in everything that we do. We do try to show the young ladies that even when we have our beauty and STEM events, look at how science and math is, you wouldn't think, but a chemist who is making eyeshadow and fragrance and putting all these things together, think about what level of equations that they're doing. It's just phenomenal. And so, that's one of the things I want to propel and make sure that I get across, that we need STEM. We need you all in science, technology, engineering, and math. We want you to do the creative things as well. If you are great at the arts, so be it. But we want to make sure that STEM just doesn't have a stigma, or computing doesn't have a stigma, because you may not have that kid that you can pull it out of them early on. But if you get them something such as, I know they're all into social media, beauty, cars, certain different things, if you can pull that out of them, you're doing a world of good. So that's why I say, at any point, I try to always give back, because again, like I say, it just goes to inspiring that one person. I might not can inspire 500 people to take that extra step. They'll look at it and they'll be maybe inspired about some aspect of it.
Mhm.
But if I can reach one person to help them say, you know what, I can be an engineer. I'm going to go all in, or go all in on AI, whatever I need to do. And so I just always look at it as, you can reach the masses, but definitely you never know, that one person you could see probably years later that say, I heard you or saw you somewhere. And I've had people to come up to me and say, man, I saw a speech that you did about 5 years ago, and it really encouraged me, or what I saw when you were giving back. So it just does my heart a world of good that I can give back in the world. And that's just something I always think about: value, supporting, how can I give back? And it just makes my heart just really feel good.
I have to say this, okay, and at this stage of my life, it's a little concerning to me about me, but I never equated STEM with beauty. Just, you know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm,
like,
mhm.
yes, you do need chemists, you do need
Mhm.
scientific knowledge and engineering to construct a face. You know what I'm saying? Construct
Right.
the cosmetics that go on the face to make the face what you want the face to be. I never connected the dots. I'm so serious. That's amazing. And that's something that I think would be really, really liberating for some of these little girls who are, well, I want my own makeup company. My granddaughter, who she's not a little girl, she's got two children, but her dream and her desire is to go into being a makeup artist and a whole stylist, the whole thing. But I promise you, she never connected the dots of, you know what, there's a deeper part of that. Now, I have two friends that own their own makeup companies. And so I understand that, they understood the chemistry of it. But I
Mhm.
promise you, just to think of it in the same term of STEM and beauty, that is amazing.
Yeah. And just the people, the many women who are out here now who have hair products, and they've started hair products from their own home. They had to have calculations, measurements on how much of the product to use before they went to mass production. So, just when you think about it at that level, it's mind blowing. Like, we actually have STEM in everything, even down to the engineering of, if think about a kid that's riding a bike, or it had to be some engineering that went into that, so just thinking about it, I always try to, ask people to think about it at a deeper level. Everything
Mhm.
that you do every day, even though we're on our phones, that took a level of engineering skill, you know, even mobile app development. So as you know, our phones are getting so smart. every time they are released, whether it's an iPhone or Android or all of the rest of the phones on the market. But when we just really think about and dial in to how STEM is in everything that we do, it really changes the way that you look at the world.
It does. I have this, excuse me, this big thing. Oh, I'm sorry, with my youngest grandson, because he wants every name known to man, shoot. Okay. And I have, since he was a little boy, it's like, if your name is not on it, it does not matter, right? Because I'm all about that entrepreneurial spirit. Stop going out there putting money in somebody else's pocket when you should be developing your own. That's just me.
Mhm.
But when you think about it from that perspective and training up our little girls, because this is, I'm not, y'all, I'm not, you know how I feel about my kings and the little boys, but I'm talking specifically about the little girls now. As you're training up the little girls, if you can pour into, like your parents did for you, and nurture that inner scientist, that inner you, maybe she just really, really likes to cook, but she likes to
Mhm.
cook from scratch and she likes to bring in her own ingredients and make her own flavors and stuff. It's just like you said, there's calculations that are required for doing that. I don't think as parents, possibly, I'm just saying, because I said, you guys, at the beginning, we're going to stretch ourselves as parents and especially as mothers. Are we are we encouraging, our little girls to look deeper? To look deeper. I'm all about teaching our young ladies, you are not eye candy, baby. You take care of you for you and understand how valuable you are. Because when you understand your own value, you will never again let somebody else devalue you. So I'm really big on that. But I'm hearing as you're speaking, going deeper to say what are we developing for you to become, you know that's
That's
I
it.
love it. I
That's
love it.
definitely it. Yeah. And just taking it to the next level, And so this is the thing, like they say, what keeps you up at night? And so that's one of the things, how am I, putting forth value into the world, whether it's, and we definitely need our boys in STEM. We definitely want to get more of them because we need more Black engineers in tech, no matter women or men. So, nobody left behind in that sense, because one of the things right now, um, as we kind of shift over in the world of AI and what's going on, we definitely don't want, our communities to be left behind because, we are at a pivotal moment in time where we are not going back to the technology of before. And so one of the things I go to bed with and wake up with every day, how can I help someone to learn more about AI? What am I doing to try to add value? And so that, my community, anything that I have that I can touch, that they're not left behind. Any piece of information, I don't gatekeep at all. I just try to help to propel people to feel empowered with technology, because I know how it feels when some people say, oh my God, I don't have a computer science degree, I'm not that tech savvy, I don't, and I don't make people feel like that. This is a time of empowerment where AI can be your thought
Mhm,
co-partner,
mhm.
just showing people how they can utilize it on an everyday basis and how to understand it and work with it. So that's been one of the things I think since early on too, that I've always wanted to help people to figure out technology so that we are, masses of our communities are not left behind. And like I said, I know it's a big job to try to do it all at one time, but I really try to reach as many people as I can.
I love it. So tell us about your tie into NASA, girl.
Yes, definitely. So I would say it was around 2023, of one of my dear friends in the professional space, a nonprofit space, that reached out to me and said, Jennifer, we are putting together a cohort of, professional entrepreneurs and also thought leaders from around the globe to help us with this NASA, technology program cohort to, really give thought leadership and value to, there's so many technology, ideas and softwares that NASA licenses out. to for creators to create different things if they want to, if someone wants to have a patent and really, have NASA to take a look at it. And so what we were a part of was a group where we got to spend, some time, some weeks into really just taking a look at all of the technology that was there and lend some thought leadership to that, and also see how we could help to move this forward, with our own projects that we're working on. If you are a person who has a patent or have a current framework that, could be utilized in NASA technology. So this was really an awesome opportunity to go there and be a part of that, and just to see, because I, would have never known that NASA, they will license out, you know, technology and software to small businesses, and if you are a creator or a developer and an engineer to be a part of something like that. That was just phenomenal. So I was so excited that my friend had reached out to me about this and thought of me, because I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad to be in the room. And it's just so important to be in the right place at the right time. And I always tell people, say yes to yourself. A lot of times I know we're like, oh my God, are we skilled enough? Should I be in the room? Do I even, how do I even, you do not ever want to be the smartest person in the room. There's always something that you can learn. And when I say that was a room full of leaders and just people who are just so brilliant and working on things, and you would not realize that a lot of times when we're saying no, we are really stifling our own talent. There is something that people, being around people in rooms like that, that they bring out of you that you don't know you have. And so I was just so grateful for that opportunity. It has really changed the way that I have looked at, of course, the way I go about speaking, but also just the way that I go about creating and just looking at the world, and just like I told you, Dr. Coylette, I'm really big on global leadership. How can we lead in our businesses from a global perspective? Let's just not kind of look at where we are in our own communities, but how can we really maximize and really provide value at the global level?
Awesome, awesome. So I just kind of need to pick your brain a little. Um, in this season of technology that we find ourselves in now, from the AI perspective, I'm over the past couple of months just learned about vibe coding and being able to go into these different platforms and allow AI to code for me to build what it is that I want to build. I had this monumental project that sitting in a growth hacking conference, learning that AI can create AI to do what you need AI to do. It was just
Mhm.
like, what? So, but in this environment that we are in now, how does well, obviously, because your engineering genius is needed to even build the AI, but how does that, what you've been doing all along, how does that transition into where we are today with the AI piece?
Well, for me, I would say about, what was it, when OpenAI first released ChatGPT, of course, November of 2022, right? I'm in the thick of software engineering and development, and I'm seeing at that point in time, okay, coding is about to change for developers. Some developers, they may move forth into having, their own companies and still consulting and doing different things, but it's going to change. And so, what I've noticed, of course, as you stated, the platforms now have changed where the coding is done for you. The hours of debugging that I was doing, spending 24 hours on a feature in a website, that's not heard of anymore. But, and, with the change of the times too, there's not going to be such a huge need for so many developers. As you know now, the AI is coding for you. So, what
Mhm.
I've been able to do, of course, in my time of development, still with the app development here and there, that's changing. and that has changed over in how I have built my own consultancy now, helping clients to understand AI at a deeper level, but also helping them to understand it from an engineering perspective. Because, of course, we have people who are out here who are working with AI and who is specifically consulting with AI, but I'd like to have them to look at it from an engineering lens, kind of understanding more on the deeper level of the LLMs and the tokens and machine learning and things. So all of that stuff from all along of, kind of like back to the basics of coding and how to understand, the software development life cycle and how that feeds into the transition of technology over time. I've been able to carry it into AI. And even though, some of my clients, they may not understand it on that deeper level, but I try to put it in higher level for them to understand of what they need, of course. And just thinking of, technology changes at the speed of light. Something, a coding language that I learned years ago, or some type of technology that can change into 3 to 6 months. So you are definitely always having to be versatile, with your learning. Learn as much as you can, but you know that they're changing. One of the things that I've been able to speak with audiences and my clients on, yeah, the AI models used to change every 7 months. Now that's down to 3 months. And soon they'll be changing every month. As you know, ChatGPT 5 is out right now. And so agents, it's all about, everything that you can do faster, quicker, because of course in the world we need to do things at the speed of light now. And so it is coming, and we are moving into the world also of the digital influencer AI twins. And I typically build those as well, because if you will notice, a lot of the content that's on YouTube now, it is the digital avatars of the thought leaders who are out here. And I will so tell people, to scale yourself. If you are dealing with, exhaustion of being online, burnout. It is a lot to post, but if you have your digital twin, and one of the things that has helped me in my business, and I also tell people, I'm a full-time caregiver for my elderly grandparent. So having AI implemented into my business and the way that I've just been able to handle daily tasks, it has made a phenomenal change for me, because I'll say about 5 years ago, when I was a technology director and I was running on fumes, had repetitive tasks, just looking at how could I change my life. And I said, I knew back then I wanted to have my own company. So I decided to step out on faith and create a legacy and sustainable business, from a cloud infrastructure perspective. But then when I was able to add AI into it, I looked at, how can I help people who are like me, who are, stay-at-home moms, caregivers who, they have been burned out, exhaustion, stress, and they're able to do more now, with just managing their daily tasks. And also, if you can have a digital AI twin that is helping you to do and get your daily tasks done, where it's taking the load off of you, how much would that just really save you time to get back to your family? You're able to do more and breathe and just have that mental capacity and space and not feel like you're on all the time with competing, priorities. So, I've been just really trying to help people to really diversify, themselves and their businesses with the help of AI.
So, ma'am, I need your services because I definitely need a digital twin.
Yes, definitely. I can definitely help you with that. And
Sure.
anybody in your network, I'm certainly happy to help.
Oh my gosh. I've been saying for quite a while, I need a clone, y'all. And it
And once
sounds
you
like
get it,
this my digital twin. That'll do it.
once you have it, it'll be hard to go back, because as I stated, if you will just take a look, Dr. Coylette, you would be just blown away with all of the content. And it is it's great content where you have your digital twin that is able to run a whole show for you, do trainings for you. You can feed it a script and it is on and ready to go. It's made up. It looks just like you. Just so much realism there, and it just takes the load off. I know there's some people out here who, I'm not a content creation expert, I'm not a social media. You don't have to be now. The technology that we have out here now, I just think about, as a kid, I would have never known that it would have gotten this far, but it's just the power of AI and where we're going now. So definitely, I think about the things that came from that you used to do with all the coding and kind of, if you are like me and you remember those days of AOL, this is not that dial up anymore.
I
We are
do.
well past that. But yeah, having a digital twin, it has saved me hours. Most of my clients have seen definitely a 10 to 15 hour a week that they are hours a week they are getting back. And also just the
Nice.
income, if you're able to make an additional 10 to $30,000 in your business per month, I mean, that would be worth it. And so that is why I'm helping um the business owners and just people that I'm helping to make that switch to know that, hey, you don't have to do it alone now. The AI is your thoughtful co-partner, and it can definitely work for you and get some of the stress off of your life so you can get back to living in life, get back to, growing your influence, and doing the things that you really want to do. Because we all know if you take out your phone right now, you have some manual repetitive tasks, appointments, certain things, responding to emails that you don't want to do. You can definitely get AI to help you do that. And I also help my clients with AI agents so they can really just take the load off altogether. And so it has just been, you know, just phenomenal what AI has been able to help all of us to do, no matter if you're just starting out with one tool or you have developed many into your AI tech stack. And so that's why I'm just really been adamant about going all in, and the people that I help to go all in on AI, no better time.
I have been advocating for probably about 2 to 3 years now regarding AI as a tool. It is not the devil. It is not your enemy. You know, I tell people all the time, it's like, aren't you afraid it's going to take all the jobs? Well, if you learn how to use it, then you become valuable and they need you. So
Definitely.
you know, if you it's all in your perception of it. If I know how to use it, then I'm valuable to use it. Like you like, and I'm very, very serious about really needing your help. I'm extremely serious about that. How would okay, get my English straight, how would my viewers contact you and tell us a little bit about your company and your services? Because I promise you, this is an amazing thing that is definitely leading. I have to say this from a female perspective because as a woman, we are taking care of the home, we're taking care of the husband, we're taking care of the kids, the grandkids, we've got our own company, we're at church, we're doing all of these things and all of these tasks. And if you can give me back 15 hours of my week, please. So tell us a little bit about your company and how they can find you.
Yes, definitely. Nexora Strategy Consulting. I help clients to build, put together their AI agents. I have a framework that I go through, my AIM framework, which helps you to assess, integrate, multiply, and monitor. And so I am helping companies to integrate these AI agents, of course, that will help take the load off. That's one realm of it. And also the digital AI twin aspect of it with digital content and creating those videos. As you see, there are AI ads that are all around, and just having your, you know, AI twin to create different things for you, reels and posts and all of that. So that will alleviate you. So that's a part of my AI agency framework that I do. But definitely you can contact me at info@nexorastrategy.co. And so that's Nexora. So Nexora. So info@nexorastrategy.co. And also I am Jennifer Ponder, CSM online. So you'll see at the top on my banner the Nexora Strategy Consulting, you have the right one. And definitely, I am on Facebook as well, Jennifer Ponder Speaks, and on Instagram at Jennifer Ponder Speaks as well. Those are my speaking pages, how you can get in contact with me. And Jennifer at JenniferPonderSpeaks.com as well is another way to reach out to me. But I am helping clients, of course, to even if you just want a strategy consulting, you need something customized for you where I'm not ready for the agents yet. I'm not ready for an AI twin yet. I just want to have help bringing clarity to the chaos. Help me to just understand at a minimal level, because I just really encourage people who I work with, don't get bogged down by the over 15,000 AI tools that's on the market. I want you to find one tool that helps you, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, even
Mhm.
if it's something like Descript that'll help you go from, photo to video in no time, whatever you're doing, I can help you to really navigate this space, because I know we still have some people who, like you said, there is still worry and concern. And, I take my clients through, let's go through multi-factor authentication. Let's go through setting up safe words, because they have, AI dialers out here that may try to get your information. And, that's near and dear to my heart, because I have an elderly grandparent that I'm a caregiver for, and I am really a stickler about no one taking advantage of elderly people or anyone. And
Mhm.
so I really try to go through, hey, make sure you're creating the safe word with your employer team or your family member team, where if you get an AI dialer calling you, and you can integrate that safe word. Say, for instance, I use the analogy, if it's at least on the phone, and you think you're talking to Jennifer, and you put in that word technology, and the AI dialer just keeps going on, yeah, you can hang up on it. Make sure that you are doing things like that, because the AI is getting real sophisticated out here, and there
Yes,
are bad actors everywhere. But I
yes.
encourage people that as long as you are using technology for good, you definitely don't have to be afraid of this thing. And so I really encourage, just still, just a high level of trying to understand it. I really encourage people to contact me about that as well, because I want to help you navigate these waters effectively, because AI is so new and it's moving at a high rate of speed. And as it continues to be new, we still need people to help us to navigate it at that level where we can understand. And I try to provide that value.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, ladies, you that follow me through multiple media platforms, we do once a month, we do the Women in Leadership Networking event on LinkedIn Live. Well, this month, it is November already. This month, it is going to be on November 18th. And guess who my guest is? I only have one panelist this week or this month, and it is Miss Jennifer. Yay!
Awesome.
So
Excited.
we'll be able to even discuss this on another level with the women in leadership. I'm excited. I'm excited about that. Let's see. Closing out, we have about 2 minutes left. I would love for you to speak to the young girls, the young ladies that don't quite know how they fit in this whole dynamic of technology other than they're constantly on their cell phone.
Mhm.
Okay. Can you just speak to them from a perspective of looking into STEM programs and how it could benefit their lives?
Yes, please look into STEM programs. Again, like I stated before, if you are interested in beauty, this is something, definitely beauty and STEM go hand in hand. I encourage you, anything that you find that you are really just head over heels in love with, and love at that age, because I know we were all into makeup, we were all into clothes, fashion, and all of that. Look at how STEM can fit into that. You may not want to be the scientist, you may not want to be the engineer, like a civil engineer or mechanical engineer. You could want to be a software engineer or whatever type of technologist, or actuary in math. See how all of those things tie into what you're doing. And it doesn't have to be anything in that realm, but whatever you are excited about, whatever you find yourself searching all the time, whether it's AI or Googling or these type of events that you go to, look at how STEM, you can even take 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes to ask AI. If I'm, excited about soccer, or I'm excited about event planning, show me how STEM can be involved in that from an early standpoint. How can I get involved? Just taking those minutes, to find, even if you go on meetup.com, and this is not a dating site, folks, this is professional. You can go to find meetups for, high school. There could be some for middle school, but I know high school schoolers who are interested in tech and STEM, that is definitely a great place for you to go. And also LinkedIn. There's always things, if you are in high school, I encourage you to get your LinkedIn page set up. Because you never know which college could be looking at you right now, especially if you have STEM credit on your graduation certificate and you are taking STEM focused credits that will help you for college. You may be taking AP courses. This is something that is going to help you phenomenally. So please make sure you are on LinkedIn to set you up for success. But those are some tidbits that can help you get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being our guest today. This has been invaluable. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love smart women. So,
Well, I am so
love
happy
you.
that I could be here with you today, Dr. Coylette, and I was so excited to be here with your audience as well. And I hope that anything that I have said has encouraged someone today to look into AI and look into STEM, because this is definitely certainly a time to be alive in this space.
Awesome, awesome. Look down in the chats, either if you're on Facebook Live, if you're on YouTube, look down in the chat because all of Jennifer's information will be there so you can reach out to her because I know just like I do, you need that digital twin. Have an incredible week, and Lord willing, we'll see you next week. God bless.
Have an amazing day, everyone.